Okay, hello everybody. Today we're here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in the Airbus A320. We have a 546 nautical mile flight from Sierra Juliet Charlie, San Jose International to Sierra Lima Charlie, Salt Lake City. Both of those are payware airports and they look fantastic. We'll be using the Flybywire mod for the A320 to give us all of that awesome realism for startup and flight. And flying to Salt Lake City, we should have some great scenery to enjoy along the way. So let's hop into the flight deck and get started. Delta does have a non-stop flight between these two cities, so we're flying with their livery today. Alright, the Airbus is surprisingly easy to start up. So we'll start by getting battery 1 and battery 2 on. Then we'll go up and do the APU fire test. Looks good. Now we can go down and turn on the APU master switch and start up the APU. That's the little engine in the back of the aircraft. Let's turn up the console lights. Now we'll get all 6 of our pumps turned on. Turn on the crew oxygen. And we'll head up to the circuit breaker. All those look good. Down to the center pedestal, make sure that our parking brake is set. And we will get our pedestal lights turned up. Then we'll turn up all of our display brightnesses. The lower display is set to APU, so as the brightness comes up you can see the APU coming online on the display. And if you give it a second, it should be available. Turning green. And there it is, it's available. Back on the overhead, we'll get ADIRS 1, 2, and 3 in the top left there to the nav position. Next, strobes to auto, nav logo lights on. We'll get the emergency exit lights armed and the seatbelt and no smoking lights all on. Those are all the switches here on the bottom row. We'll head up and do our engine 1 and engine 2 fire tests. Those illuminate and the alarm goes off. We'll turn on the APU bleed. That will start drawing power from the APU. We've got our jet bridge coming in to bring on our passengers, so let's get our clearance. San Jose clearance, Delta 1128 IFR to Salt Lake City, ready to copy. Cleared Salt Lake City, Almden for departure, Mogi transition, climb via the SID, maintain flight level 150, expect file 10 minutes after departure, squawk 3313, departure 121.3, Delta 1128.
Welcome aboard, and thanks for flying with Delta. Our first priority on every flight is safety, so before we depart, I'll be giving a brief safety presentation. Okay, be sure all carry-on items are securely stowed in an overhead bin, and place smaller items under the seat in front of you.
This Delta safety video playing in the background is actually really funny. I'll put the link in the description so that you too can check it out. So we are finishing up setting our MCDU here. I went in gut-wrenching detail for this in one of my previous videos. I won't take you through all of it now, but here's where you need to configure MCDU to have the parameters for your flight and make sure that the flight plan is loaded up, as well as do some initiation for the GPS for the plane. While I'm finishing up, I'll take us through the flight brief. So we have a 546 nautical mile flight, and although the flight is a bit long, the flight plan is very easy. So we have a departure and an arrival, and then 2 waypoints that are connected by an airway. So airways really simplify the flight plan because you can just designate the airway and it will include all the waypoints along the airway. Our airway is Quebec 124. You can see that the minimum en route altitude is flight level 280, so we'll be flying at 370 for this flight. The Almden departure that we are flying is only for runways 12 left and right, and we're doing the Mogi transition, so we're doing a left turn, another left turn heading up to Mogi, and then connecting with the Quebec airway that I called out. The Bonneville arrival is comically simple, so it's fly to Bonneville and then head to Watts and then do our approach. We're expecting runway 16 left when we arrive, so we're doing the RNAV approach for that runway. You can see the flight plan is on display on the MCDU now. It looks like that all imported correctly. I put that together on the flight planning screen of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which seems to be the easiest way to get things into the MCDU. Okay, we'll make sure our external power is off. We'll get our beacon on. We'll make a quick announcement to the flight crew, and then we'll request our pushback. Flight attendants, cabin crew, doors on automatic, cross-check and report. Thank you. I'm still using the default in-game system for pushback, which is a nightmare, but this one actually worked out almost on centerline. So, surprisingly, starting up the engines in an Airbus involves flicking one switch. And we'll watch the ECAM display up here to make sure that we have a good startup as our turbine spins up to power. Get our speed brakes armed, flaps to 1, looks good. And for some reason, I cannot lock the cabin door, so I guess we'll just put something heavy against it. Alright, everything looks good. Let's get our taxi clearance. San Jose ground, Delta 1128 with information Tango, near Juliet, ready to taxi. Taxi, runway 12 left, Juliet, Yankee, November, Delta 1128.
Sky 3364, turn right at Juliet, cross runway 30 right, contact ground point 7.
Right turn Juliet, cross 30 right, contact ground, Sky
American 1916, runway 30 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 30 right, American 1916.
Southwest 4464, runway 30 right, clear for takeoff.
Southwest 4464, clear for takeoff, 30 right.
San Jose Tower, Delta 1128, holding short, runway 12 left. Cleared for departure, runway 12 left, Delta 1128.
San Jose information, Gulf current, wind 3206, altimeter 3017. Southwest 4464, San Jose Tower, runway 30 right, line up buoy.
On a buoy 30 right, South 4464.
We are streaming live ATC from live ATCnet in the background. It is my favorite way to fly. You get to hear the real ATC from the airport that you're taking off at.
American 1916, contact NorCal departure, good day.
Departure 1916.
Southwest 4464, contact NorCal departure, good day. South 9305, November, San Jose Tower.
Alright, everything's looking good. Let's sit back and enjoy that scenery. That scenery coming in was really colorful and fun to fly over, and the airport here is fantastic, so great job on both Payware airports. I did once again have some trouble with the autopilot and the approach, but hopefully Microsoft Flight Simulator will work out those details. I ended up hand flying the Airbus down to the runway, which I'm sure you could tell from that landing. So if you enjoy content like this, be sure to click that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. As always, thanks a lot for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.